What's up, guys? This is Dave. Couple things to discuss today that I wanted to talk about on video. First thing is Alonzo Mourning, who played for Miami, was inducted into the Hall of Fame. The Naismith Hall of Fame. I forget the guy's first name. Guy invented basketball, yeah. And along with him, David Stern and a few other names I couldn't really pick out that I wouldn't really have heard of, probably because I haven't been watching basketball for a ridiculously long time. It hasn't been 10 years yet. It's been about, I want to say like 7 or 8 years now. Something like that. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, I was watching the Hall of Fame game for the Giants and the Bills because I wanted to see how the Giants backups would play. Like some of the guys they drafted. Unfortunately, Odell Beckham Jr. couldn't play because he's had a hamstring injury since practically the start of training camp. Like the first practice he got hurt. And it's been going on since then. And David Wilson had neck surgery at the end of last season, or toward the end of last season. I'm not really sure particularly when. But he had a neck burner in training camp recently, and they basically just shut him down today, I believe it was, saying that he's not technically off the roster and he technically hasn't retired. He's just listed on the IR, which, if you guys don't know what that is, that's the injury report. I think that's the acronym. Basically, like football's equivalent to the disabled list, like you're unable to be on the active roster because you're too injured to be on it. So he's not playing the whole season at least. So that kind of sucks. And other than that, the Hall of Fame game was pretty boring. I kind of expected that. There was not a lot of offense. Like, not a lot of touchdowns. There was a few good defensive plays. And Manning fucked up a few times, unfortunately, because I'm a Giants fan. Yeah, Manning fumbled on a play after he got sacked. What happened was, he was backpedaling to try and keep the play alive, and then he was going to try and air it out, you know? But then he, I guess, didn't notice one of the defenders from Buffalo got sacked, dropped the football, and then I was hoping that one of the guys from the Giants on defense would be hustling over there and recover it. Didn't happen. Nope. The Bills picked it up, and then there was a penalty, but still ruled Bills ball. I think there was a penalty on that play. I'm not 100%. I'm kind of trying to remember like 20 different things at once here, guys. And yeah, that's about it. That, and I was watching a really cool documentary on Alonzo Mourning for like a half an hour today. That was pretty cool, because the coolest thing about him being in the Hall of Fame was the last time I went to the Hall of Fame a few years back, I got a Dwayne Wade jersey. And my dad and I were walking around. We saw some stuff with Wade's jerseys and all that. We saw Shaq's jersey from when he was on Miami. We saw a couple things of Tim Hardaway's stuff and Glenn Rice, if I remember correctly. And then I was just saying to myself, and kind of saying this to my dad a little bit, I was like, Dad, why isn't Alonzo Mourning here? Because I wasn't sure what year he retired in. I kind of forgot that day. I was having a really fucked up day that day. We're on vacation. Yeah, it wasn't a great start to that morning, so I was just like, fuck it, I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up. And he was just like, what are you talking about? You know, why are you asking, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? I was like, well, then I told him about how he went through all that shit with the fucking kidney disease, the rare kidney disease, had to get a kidney transplant, and then retired for that 1 year after playing for the Nets, like for 1 or 2 seasons, then came back on Toronto, then Toronto bought out his contract, and then he ended up back in Miami, and then eventually won the title with Dwayne Wade leading the team in 2006 with also Shaq, James Posey, Antoine Walker, Tim Hardaway, Gary Payton, a bunch of those guys. That's most of the names I can remember from that 06 team. And now the only thing I want to talk about today is the Heat have 2 more roster spots that are open. And I was wondering today who they should pick up. But seems like every time someone floats a name around that I've been talking to, it sounds like a good idea. And then after you think about it for a little bit longer than just a few minutes, it sounds like a horrible idea when you really analyze how it would work. Not just, oh yeah, we could definitely sign this guy and they'll definitely help. You gotta think, well, if we sign, say, Andre Blatch, will he buy into the system? Will he not get injured? Will he be able to deal with the amount of minutes he's getting? Because there's already a few bigs. There's Anderson, Bosch. There's possibly Justin Hamilton if they decide to guarantee his whole contract. There's Josh McRoberts. If they feel like putting Danny Granger as a power forward, that will be another guy, but I doubt it because he has injury issues that he's still trying to work with. And then there's James Ennis at small forward. They might, a very small chance because he is pretty big, so I could kind of see this happening. They could sometimes move him over to power forward. But since he's a really good shooter, I could see him as a backup for Wade at shooting guard. And that would work pretty well, I think. And then the only other Heat thing I would want to talk about tonight on this video is, where do I see the Heat ranking this season? How many wins and losses do I see them getting? How do they stack up in the Eastern Conference? Honestly, since I've seen this team play a lot, just the Heat in general, for a while now, I would say about 45 to 50 games max. Worst case scenario would be like 40 games. Realistic scenario would be 45 games. And best case scenario would be like 50 or 51 games, somewhere around that range. Now to talk about the rest of the Giants stuff. Where do I see the Giants stacking up this season? This one's a toughie. Well, everyone knows how bad, at least people who watch football, at least football fans know this, how bad the Giants did last season. They lost 6 games in a row. The first 6 games of the season, they had a little bit of a win streak. Then they lost to the Cowboys. And they won like 1 or 2 more games the whole season. But yeah, they ended up with 7-9 record. That's not too good. Not too good at all. Especially how they started out losing 6 games in a row. That's just god awful. But with the additions from free agency and the draft, free agency being getting guys like Thurmond and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie at cornerback, getting Odell Beckham Jr. Once he comes back, I think he'll be a good addition. It might take a little bit of time because he still has the hamstring injury, but I feel like after 2-3 games in the regular season, maybe 4, he might start to understand the offense. And Eli Manning and all them, they got to adjust to the new offense with Ben McAdoo as the offensive coordinator for this year. So I could see the Giants winning 8 games, like 8 or 9 games this season. And I don't see them at all in any way, shape, or form winning the division because the Eagles, with the acquisitions they got in the offseason, was just insane. Some of the guys Washington got are pretty good too. I could see the Giants getting the wild card and then winning the wild card rounds of the playoffs, and then after that it's a crapshoot. They could lose, they could get lucky and win the second round, but I feel like they'll get to the first round of the playoffs and they might win it, but they might not. So, like I said, prediction for the Giants, 8 to 9 games, playoffs, and possibly winning the first round, but after that, who the hell knows? Because football is such a crazy sport. Anything could freaking happen. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. The 2 different discussions into one video. I hope you guys are okay with that. Either way, I'm still going to do it anyway because I wanted to get 2 videos done in one. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.